Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Cameron, shalom. Audrey, shalom. Set apart living, shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. Happy Monday. It is August the 15th, 2022, day 186 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1204. Today, we about to hear the rest of the story about the Exodus and Moses and what really happened in the book of the Ark of Bond, picking up on page 432. Grandbaby's not here this morning, so I should be able to get through this without all the interruptions and the little tiny lady yelling, "Cookie, cookie, cookie, cookie." What girl? Hey, and walks out the kitchen. Auntie Belinda Brown, shalom, blissful rising. Anita, greetings, greetings. Uncle JB, shalom, my brother. Okay, y'all. Father, you are so much more than the words that we formulate to think that we can even closely describe who you are. All right, y'all. Page 432, picking up on chapter 17 at the bottom. Jehovah, through his angels, said unto Moses, when the body of the king is embalmed and put away, thou shalt go quickly to thy people, for he who cometh to the throne is under the voice of the Lord Baal, and he will try to prevent the departure of my chosen. So Moses left the capital and did as thus commanded. So quick recap, Elijah, shalom, grand rising. Yesterday, we learned that the account that we originally got in the Ezra Bible, or what we call the Holy Bible today, or the King James Version, whatever kind of version, that's the Ezra Bible, right? And it doesn't tell the complete truth about Moses and some of the goings-ons in Egypt, right? Gives a little bit more detail. They lied about Moses, right? And Moses didn't tell them to take a thing, right? So making Israel look like crooks, making Moses look like he was a murderer, right? And they said this was what was going to be written about you. And Moses pretty much asked y'all, he asked the Father, he said, who's going to tell the truth about me that I really did not do those things, right? And he didn't flee from Egypt for fear of his life. Matter of fact, the king that was still reigning, which was Ramses, who we know as Ramses' dad, the original king that actually raised Moses, first and foremost, he knew that Moses was an Israelite or a faithist, a child of the faith. Remember, we also learned that Israel is what they call the faithists in Egypt, right? So Israel back in the day was known as faithists. Okay, cool. So Israel, faithists, how do you do? How do you do, family? How do you do? Listen, but the original Pharaoh that raised Moses knew Moses was an Israelite or a faithist, child of the faithists, right? And he loved him. Even up to the day he passed away, which he didn't pass yet, but we can clearly tell through the reading yesterday. And not only did he love him, he was on board with Israel leaving. And he told him, Moses, whatever y'all trying to do, you're going to need to go ahead and accomplish this before I die, because I feel that the one who's going to become king after me, he's not going to make it so easy for y'all to get up out of here, right? Okay, so that was a quick recap. Shayla, hey, girl, hey, Kate. Hey, girl, hey. All right. I just started over since we only read verse 1. Chapter 17, the bottom of page 432. Jehovah, through his angels, said unto Moses, when the body of the king is embalmed and put away, thou shalt go quickly to thy people, for he who cometh to the throne is under the voice of the Lord Baal, and he will try to prevent the departure of my chosen. So Moses left the capital and did as commanded. On New Gans being crowned, he at once issued the following decree. Behold me, I am Pharaoh, king of Egypt and ruler of the world. So before we go any further, after Nugan, or Nugan, it's Nugan, N-U-G-H-A-N, on Nugans. Okay. So it has reference letter H after New Gone. So let's real quick flip to the back on page 459. And H says, in the book of Eskra, chapter 16, we learn that this oppressive Pharaoh later makes up for his misdeeds by working in atmosphere to establish the Essenes, which became the association through which Joshua labored. We're going to learn about Joshua. We're going to learn about Joshua. Okay. For those of you who don't know, Joshua is the real who people would call Jesus, right? But that Jesus won his name. And here, OAHSPE calls him Joshua. We're gonna learn about him. Jen, hey girl, hey. Kendrick, love and light, Tasman. Shalom, brother. Shalom. Okay. Verse 2, bottom of page 432. On Nugan's being crowned, he at once issued the following decree. Behold me, I am Pharaoh, king of Egypt and ruler of the world. God hath raised his voice in my dominions, saying, Hail thou, son king of the corporal world. Behold, I gave to thee all the living that are on the face of the earth, and in the waters of the earth, to be thine, to keep forever. And I say unto thee, what is thine own is thine own, and thou shalt have dominion in thine own way. For I made all that are alive on the earth to be thine forever, whether of beasts of the field, or fish in the waters, or man on the earth. All the living I created for thee, and thou shalt possess them from everlasting to everlasting. And the life of the living gave I into thy keeping, and I said unto thee, the house of Pharaoh have I created, and it is my house also. And whosoever ruleth on the throne of this land, the same is my son, and is the possessor whilst the breath of life is in him. But when he dieth, the throne fall to his successor. The rights and the powers and possessions of thy kingdom shall not die, nor be set at naught. But thy successor shall be my Pharaoh, whom I raise up unto my dominions, thus saith the Lord. Now, therefore, I, Pharaoh, who am king and possessor of all the world by commandment of God, remember, by commandment of the Lord God, Baal. I'm not talking about great Jehovah, right? Shebrew, hey girl, hey, great spirit, grand rising. Now, therefore, I, Pharaoh, who am king and possessor of all the world by commandment of God, and by his son Osiris, the false Osiris, who is dead and risen, being myself God of the earth, into whose hands are bequeathed all the living, am today, yesterday, and forever, the same everlasting King and Lord of all. And I decree unto my people, who are mine by virtue of my authority from God, Baal, right? Let's not get that messed up. That only by my gracious indulgence hath any man or people right to put one foot before the other on this my sacred earth. The audacity. And whoso goeth here or there, save by the sign of the signet of my seal, shall surely be put to death. And any multitude of my people who are my servants, whom the God of gods hath given into my hands to do my works, to till my earth, or to build my houses, or to dig ditches, or to make bricks, or gather harvest, or make cloth, or attend flocks, and to do all works whatsoever, who may design to escape out of Egypt, to go to my enemies, the foreign kings, shall be deemed guilty unto death. Oh, he gave some thought into this. Go ahead, Carol. He gave some thought into this to go after Israel. Look, you want to make sure he cover all bases. And if such people start forth to quit my service, to go out of my holy land, then shall my loyal slaves fall upon them and slay them, right and left, sparing neither man, woman, nor child. Remember those who killed men, women, and children. It is not the Creator. It is not Yah. And if such people start forth to quit my service, to go out of my holy land, then shall my loyal slaves fall upon them and slay them right and left, sparing neither man nor woman nor child. For thus commandeth the Lord God, whose son I am, Baal's son. Or Baal, you might as well say Baal's slave, because that's what you're going to be if you don't get it together, my G. You're going to go right by default into his kingdom. Verse 8, Jehovah, through his angels, spake to Moses, saying, Go thou, take Aaron thy brother, and go before the king and plead thy cause. Moses said, O Jehovah, thou Almighty, why hast thou said this unto me? I have no argument in me like other men, nor have I the courage to face a man or a woman. My tongue is slow to find words till after the opportunity. From my youth up, I have known this man, Nugon, who is king, and if he but stamp his foot at me, I am helpless before him. Moses, pull yourself together. Boy, pull yourself together. Like, come on, dude. Jehovah said, For that reason, my son, I can give thee my words. Go and fear not. Then Moses went before Pharaoh, taking Aaron with him. The king asked, What is thy will? And Moses said, I am come to beseech thee to suffer my people to depart out of Egypt. The king replied, The Lord is with me. And he said, Thou shalt not go. And I repeat the words of my God. Then spake Moses, the power of Jehovah being upon him. Think not, O king, that bondage is for this world only. Here doth not the matter end. Thou hast here in thy decree, even from the Lord, thou hast spoken. Baal, right? Remember, anytime they say Lord or God, well, technically, when you say God, you have to make the differentiation to make sure it's a false God or a true God, right? Or same thing with the Lords, Lord gods, gods, lords, Lord gods. You just got to decipher, right? Okay, so, all right. Then spake Moses, the power of Jehovah being upon him. Think not, O king, that bondage is for this world only. Here doth not the matter end. Thou hast here said in thy decree, even from the Lord hast thou spoken, saying, The life of the living gave I into thy keeping. Saith the Lord this unto thee? Wherein then is justice, since pestilence and death are come upon thy people? Callest thou this keeping them? I declare unto thee that even in the words of thine own God thou hast failed utterly, and this sin is upon thee. Suffer then my people to depart, that thine own shortness may not be magnified unto thee in the afflictions which will surely overspread this land. The king said, Thou hast no authority. Thou art a frozen serpent that was taken into the house of the king, and being thawed out, thou turnest to bite the benefactors. Thou art outlawed by men and accursed by the oracles. It is said of thee, Thou hast been to Horeb, and there wed for the sake of alliance with my high priest Jethro, for a conveyance of my lands unto thy people. Who art thou that pretendest to hear a voice and to be led by the unseen, thou slave? Moses said, I am not here to plead my own cause, O king, but my people's. Suffice it, though, that even as thy Lord God standeth upon miracles, I bow not down before him. For these are evidence that thy God and thy Lord are but angels of the dead, who labor for thee and thy aggrandizement, and not for all men's welfare. Remember, that's how we can tell, right? If what you about to do, or what you heard, or if your prayer was answered and it's for the good of all men, no matter what race, color, nor creed, if it's for the betterment of all parties involved, then you can probably bet that their voice is from the great spirit, Jehovah, Yahweh, Yah. Let me not say Yahweh, right? Because we're going to talk about him too. But the great creator, right? But if anything that you hear is leave somebody to be the underdog, right? you might want to consider what you just heard him, the source where it comes from, right? Because it ain't the great spirit, it ain't Jehovah, it ain't the great creator, right? Verse 13, Moses said, I am not here to plead mine own cause, O king, but my people's. Suffice it, though that even as thy Lord God standeth upon miracles, I bow not down before him. For these are evidence that thy God and thy Lord are but angels of the dead who labor for thee and for thy aggrandizement and not for all men's welfare. For I have miracles also, and whatsoever thy magicians can do, that can I do also. Have not I eyes and ears, even as the oracles? Now I declare a miracle unto thee, which is that thou thyself shalt not yet only consent to my people's going out of Egypt, but thou shalt send armies to drive them out, to turn a rod into a serpent, or water into wine, or to show the spirits of the dead. Alas, O king, even they that are of rotten flesh can do such things. Come through, Moses. Come on. You don't sound like you so slow of speech.
All right, so
Go ahead.
A quick lowdown of what you just read. Even though
this the real story of Exodus, my G.
So what was he talking about when he can't when he was talking about the dead bodies? What do you mean?
Oh, the parlor tricks and stuff that Pharaoh was showing them. He was like, listen, spirits of the dead can do these things. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Your magic tricks ain't all that.
Right.
Dead people can do this.
Right.
Dang, Pharaoh. Okay. Well, this is extra hard now. Didn't he say his kids could do it even better?
Oh no, you talking about Legends of the Jews when Pharaoh was talking to him when it first came. Okay.
Hey, I was on Pharaoh's side the whole time. Because ain't no way he gonna dish you like that. You just
gettest thou selfest together, son. To turn a rod into a serpent, or water into wine, or to show the spirits of the dead. Alas, O king, even they that are of rotten flesh can do such things. Pharaoh said, if the oracle hear God, is not this the greatest? Moses replied, he who uttereth what an angel bid him is that angel's servant. He who uttereth a good truth have spoken with Jehovah's voice. Pharaoh asked, sayest thou thy words are the creators? Moses replied, I am as all good men who speak truth. All that is good and all truth are Jehovah's words. In a rose he findeth expression and perfume. In lightning, his words are thunder. In a bird, his words are songs. But in man, his voice is in man's words. For every living creature and every dead thing on earth, or in the water, or in the air above the earth, giveth expression in its own way, because the Father's hand is the foundation of all that is good and true. Go get y'all highlighters out. Y'all should have had them ready at the go. Zachariah, Yasharal, Shalom, Shalom. Hold on, let me highlight that. I'm gonna read that whole. That's a long sentence. I'm gonna read it all again. Verse 16 at the bottom of page 434. I'm gonna read what Pharaoh said last, then I go into 15. Sayest thou thy words are the creators? Moses replied, I am as all good men who speak truth. All that is good and all truth are Jehovah's words. In a rose he findeth expression and perfume. In lightning his words are thunder. In a bird his words are song. But in man his voice is in man's words. For every living creature and every dead thing on earth, or in the water, or in the air above the earth, giveth expression in its own way, because the Father's hand is the foundation of all that is good and true. He is the I am who sent me to thee. By his command, open I my mouth before thee, and in his name declare I unto thee that thou shalt not only suffer my people to depart out of Egypt, but thou shalt send thy armies to drive them out. So remember, about this time, when they about to leave out, they about to roll out of Egypt, there were things going on in Egypt that it said it's not even lawful to mention with your lips. Go ahead, so.
Where's the top to that?
I don't know. That's Elijah's phone. The king said, Moses, Moses, thou art mad. For though all Egyptian run, let me start it over. I still messed it up. The king said, Moses, Moses, thou art mad. For though all Egypt run blood, yet will I not do as thou hast said. Then Moses replied, I tell thee, O king, there be two powers in heaven, that which is for justice and goodness, even Jehovah, and that which is for sin and death. And if the Creator lift off his protecting hand from Egypt, she shall in a day become the plague spot of the earth. Thou dost remember when in the ancient days great Thothma built the first pyramid, thy forefathers decried the power of heaven, and straightway all the land and the great pyramid itself was flooded over by evil spirits. And then came foreign kings and robbed and plundered Egypt. Think not, O king, these legends are but idle tales. There be gods and lords in heaven who could sweep up the sea and drown all this country. Behold, a day is set, a night is marked out, when the Lamb of peace shall die. And in that night, the firstborn of every woman and the firstborn of every beast in all the fields shall die for all the Egyptians. And in that same night, not one of the Israelites shall go down in death. Jehovah saith, I will show my power through my people in the time of my covenants. Pharaoh said, were these things to be, God had come to be, had these things to be, God had come to more noble quarters. Thou art beside thyself, and I banish thee, nor will I again look upon thy face. Moses said, whether in this world or in the next, thou shalt yet call unto me to deliver thee from torments. Nevertheless, I do thy bidding, neither will I come to thee again, nor shalt thou look upon my face for a long season. With that, Moses and Aaron saluted the king and departed. Chapter 18, bottom of page 435 in big blue. Pharaoh called his chief superintendent and said unto him, as to the Hebrew brickmakers, thou shalt no longer supply them with straw, but they shall continue to make the same number of bricks. And after shall, but they shall continue. After shall is reference number 5 at the bottom, and it says, but they shall gather stubble themselves, and they shall continue. So remember, the numbers are at the bottom of the current page. The letters are at the end of the current chapter, right? And the footnotes at the bottom is letting you know the changes that have been made from the previous version. This being the most up-to-date version, what we read in the paragraph is updated. But if there was a change, that's what the number is, and it lets you know what it was in a previous version. Okay. Pharaoh called his chief superintendent and said unto him, as to the Hebrew brickmakers, thou shalt no longer supply them with straw, but they shall continue to make the same number of bricks. And as to the tillers of the soil, thou shalt no longer suffer them to have cattle to draw the plows, but they shall draw the plows themselves, and they shall likewise break the same quantity of ground. And in this way, the king put extra hardships upon the Israelites because he was angered at what Moses said. Moses, perceiving this, cried out unto Jehovah, saying, oh, why didst thou send me before Pharaoh? Behold, matters are worse than before. Oh, that I had guarded my tongue and been of persuasive speech. Jehovah said to Moses, rebuke not thyself, for thou hast done my commands. And it shall come to pass now what otherwise would not. For such Israelites as hesitated about going out of Egypt will now declare for themselves as to what they would do. Oh, okay. There's always what is it? A rhyme and reason, a reason to the rhyme, or a method to the madness, right? You got to get everybody on board, Moses. Everybody got to, of their own free will, want to leave out of here, out of Egypt with Moses, right? Okay, I get it. Listen, saying that, I was thinking about something. Hold on, let me pause. I ain't gonna be sidetracked too long, but I was thinking about this, right? Because I'm a gun-toting sister. I like my sidearm, right? I like the right to be able to defend myself if the need should ever so arise. But I am not one of the ones who gonna go out there looking for trouble, right? In my prayers, I pray that I would be discerning enough to whereas if something was about to pop off wherever we are, my ears will be open enough to hear the voice of the creator, to not even go to that place today or be like, sis, come on, get your crew, let's go and roll out, it's time to go, right? So we would never find ourselves in a situation where I would even have to do that, right? Now, while reading through OAHSPE, I'm like, Father, you got to work with a sister because, I joined the military. I'd have been shot at, almost died, got a car shot up. I'm all for protecting myself here, right? Reading through OAHSPE, it's what they say, um, um, no resistance and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know. You got to work with me on that because my sidearm gonna be on me at all times, right? So it's non-resistant, you know, just believe the creator gonna protect you. Not like blindly or whatever, but I thought about this. I'm like, listen, hold on, listen, bro. I was with you up until this. Like you seen the stuff that I didn't almost been caught up in, right? Yeah. Okay, so explain to me how we gonna handle this. Hopefully, first of all, help me to keep my ears open so I can hear you, so I never find myself in that type of situation, right? And I can teach my children to always keep their head on a swivel, pay attention to your surroundings, use discernment, right? You're gonna have to develop me in that if I'm to walk around with nothing to protect myself except for hope and a prayer, right? I'm just being honest with y'all. Listen. So I was thinking about this as you read through OAHSPE, right? And if you have those, and I'm just like, okay, I'm okay, I'm getting this, I'm getting it. I see why, but it is some who was good. They follow all your commands, and you still let them get their head chopped off. What about that? Why? I really need to understand why. If you protecting us, why he died?
All right, bro,
okay, son. So just being honest, thinking about this, I'm like, yo, no. Do you know? First of all, we Israel. We taking our land back, because coming from Christianity, turn the other cheek, give them your other cheek to slap too. What? Slap? So coming out of Christianity, forget to turn another cheek. We ain't turning the other cheek no more. Matter of fact, we defending what's ours. We taking back what's ours, right? Going into the Hebrew roots, you get super crunk. And it's like, no, we carrying guns. Everybody training, because when it go down in Babylon, Israel is taken back over, right? You go through that whole mindset and stuff. And then you come as you transition, you're learning, you're getting closer to the creator, and you realize, and he's saying, put your guns down. I'm like, what? Wait, hold on. I am hearing a false Lord God speak to me. Y'all trying to set me up. And so it's like, no, non-resistant. I'm like, but why? Wait, do you see what they're doing? All they use is firepower. We're like putting them down as like sheep being walked to the slaughter. You got to really help me understand this. Listen. So I was doing more thinking about this. And I'm looking at everything. Okay, son, love you. Be safe. And I'm noticing I really had to sit back and pay attention to this, right? Okay, so there will be instances where you will absolutely be protected. But then I noticed a trend that flows through OAHSPE, right? And I'm like, wow, I never saw that before. Even for those of us, faith is right. And at the point where those who do die, right? Those who are fully living, fully walking with the Father, like non-resistant, even when death or even when drama comes to the doors, right? It's like at that point, when it gets to that point, at least the accounts that we hear for the people who get to that point, when death comes to your doors looking for your life, it's like those who actually there to answer the door of death knocking, it's like, go ahead and take it, right? And it's like, and it's said with all heartfelt everything, like, go ahead and take my life. First, it's not yours to give, but if you feel that is the way, it's like some dissertation from the Great Spirit comes from them, that it hits the person who about to take their life. Some still do take their life, and some people, they just back up. Hold on, wait a minute. You done said something I ain't never thought about before. Wait a minute. I still hate you, but I'm gonna let you live another day. We probably meet again. Don't cross my path, right? But something happens. Like I said, I noticed a trend. Something happens to where even the faith is those who love the Father. Remember, first of all, let's remember that when Jehovah, or the great creator, when he allows things to happen, it's for the betterment of all those involved, right? And so what happens is, if you giving your life, or at this point willingly giving your life, will ultimately end up in the other person, let's say, being saved, or or turning from their wicked ways, or however you want to term it, it's going to turn out that way, because that's for the betterment of all involved. Now, those standing outside looking at it, who are not intimate with the situations, like, oh no, why would you even because I can't even let it have been me. You glad it, you glad it, you better been glad it wasn't me, because that would have turned out so much different, right? But then I was like, you know what? Okay, I can kind of see. I mean, I'm still carrying my weapon with me, but I can kind of see where this is going. Okay, okay, you got my attention. You got my attention. I'm at least listening, Father. I'm at least listening. I'm gonna see this thing through, but please just don't put me in a situation where I would need to use it and I ain't got it on me. Just, just work with a sister. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. I began to notice this trend, because I'm like, I was with you up until this point, but because of my personal experiences on why I think that way. Not everybody think like me. Some people, some faith is like no guns whatsoever, and blessed be the most holy that you're like already there. But I'm not. I want to be. I really want to be. Right? Listen. Okay. Verse 2. Moses, perceiving this, cried out unto Jehovah, saying, "Oh, why didst thou send me before Pharaoh? Behold, matters are worse than before. Oh, that I had guarded my tongue and been of pervasive speech. I'm sorry, and been of persuasive speech." Jehovah said to Moses, "Rebuke not thyself, for thou hast done my commands, and it shall come to pass now what otherwise would not. For such Israelites as hesitated about going out of Egypt will now decide for themselves as to what they would do. And the hardships that Pharaoh hath newly added shall be a blessing to thy people." Listen, this, ugh, okay. If you say so, I trust you even when I don't understand. Even when I don't understand, okay, let's go. Can't get no worse than this, but maybe it can. But in the end, it's gonna work out. At least that's what you tell me. So let's go. And it came to pass that the Israelites went away from their taskmasters, and the rabbis sent to them the heads. And the people of Israel were stirred up from one end of Egypt to the other. And as for the Egyptians, save the courtiers and the nobles, they were likewise stirred up, but without any purpose or order, so that all the great land of Egypt had no tillers nor builders, and cleanliness departed away from them, and the country stank as a dead carcass, so that insects and vermin fill all that air of heaven. Whew. But of the faithless, the flesh was good, and the vermin came not upon them, nor were they stricken with fevers or lepers or scabs like the Egyptians. Pharaoh ordered his army of 200,000 men to take the field, but lo and behold, they were scattered and afflicted, so that they were only as vagrants without head or discipline. Jehovah spake to Moses, saying, Now I will show her philosophers a miracle in the air above the earth. Have they not said, All things come up out of the earth? For they have tried every way to put me aside and to explain my creation away as an idle tale. They shall look and see the sun and declare of a truth there is no cloud, but whilst they look up, they shall see a cloud high up in the heavens, and it shall be broad as the land of Egypt, a very black cloud. And it shall descend to the earth, and it shall prove to be locusts, come without any seed, and they shall be so numerous that in 3 days they will eat up every green leaf of every green tree and herb in all the land. Neither shall there be like any other neither shall they be like any other locusts that have been on the earth or ever shall be. For man shall comprehend that they are not of the seed of the earth. Moses sent with a herald this prophecy to the king, and he added thereto, Why hast thou put more hardships on my people, seeing thou not that the evil thou hast hoped to accomplish hath cured itself even before it came to pass? For the Israelites now work not at all, and their taskmasters are left in the lurch. Again, I call upon thee to let my people go. The king replied not to this, but silently put his officers to work, drilling and equipping his armies and collecting them together, the which, when Moses beheld it, he understood to be the sign, as the Great Spirit had previously said, when the cloud would appear. And it came to pass on a very clear day at noon, a cloud formed high up in the firmament, and it grew blacker and blacker until it descended upon the earth, and it was locust, and was even as a snowstorm that covered the land of the earth. In places to the depth. Hold on, I'm gonna read the whole sentence again. And it came to pass on a very clear day at noon, a cloud formed high up in the firmament, and it grew blacker and blacker until it descended upon the earth, and it was locust, and was even as a snowstorm that covered the land of the earth in places to the depth of the shoes and ankles. And when they fell, eating every green leaf and herb and grass, so that in 2 days there was not a leaf to be found far or near. And on the third day, the locusts, still unappeased as to hunger, fell upon the Egyptians, old and young, feeding upon their clothes and even upon the flesh of the Egyptians. Ugh. And on the fourth day, Jehovah caused a great wind to come, and it blew the locusts off into the sea. And again, Moses sent heralds to the king, saying, Consider now my words and be wise. I have told thee that the hand of the Creator is upon this land. In thy heart thou sayest, Moses is a fool. Only a windstorm fetched the locusts from a far off country. But I say unto thee, O king, this is not so. And thou shalt still further behold Jehovah's power. For as the locust came down out of the firmament, and as thou hast a philosophy, for the occurrence, behold, now another miracle shall come in another way. For there shall suddenly come up out of the water frogs and reptiles, and they shall likewise be so numerous on the land that man shall not find where to put his foot, that it shall not come upon him. And the first day they shall be harmless, but on the second day they shall crawl upon thy people and under their clothes and in their houses. And on the third day they shall eat the flesh of the Egyptians, but they shall not touch one Hebrew in all the land. Nor shall any man find whence came so many frogs and reptiles, but they shall not be like the seed of the other frogs and reptiles. And on the fifth day, all the frogs and reptiles shall suddenly disappear, neither by wind nor by rain, but a stench as of rotten flesh shall strangle the Egyptians nigh unto death. Again, I appeal unto thee, O king, to suffer my people to depart out of Egypt in peace. This is the last time I shall solicit thee. And if thou answerest not me, then it shall come to pass in the month of Abib, and on the 9th day and night thereof, Jehovah will raise his hand over Israel. But as for Egypt, the Lord shall strike her in death. For in every family of Egyptians, far and near, on that night shall the firstborn fall dead, and that thou shalt not say, prophecy killed them. Behold, the firstborn of every beast shall die also, even of goats and sheep and cattle and asses and of dogs and cats, and every living creature man useth. For on that night, behold, 4,000,000 Israelites shall make with Jehovah the covenant of death. And on the morning thereafter, they will raise up to not lie down again in Egypt. And this shall be the testimony of innocent blood against thyself and thy people for what the Hebrews have suffered. The king answered not Moses, and it came to pass that Egypt was overspread with frogs and reptiles, in every particular, even as Moses had prophesied. Nevertheless, Pharaoh pursued his course. Jehovah spake to Moses, saying, Moses, my son, look upon man and pity him, for he believeth not in me, though I multiply signs and omens continually, and give him prophecies without end. One thing only turneth man's eyes inward, that is, flesh of his flesh, lying dead before him. Ooh. Let it not ever get to this point with us, people. Highlight it. I mean, you ain't got to, but I'm just saying it'd be good to highlight it. Verse 16, on the bottom of page 438. Now, on the night of the Passover, when the Israelites made the covenant on the blood of the Lamb, a hot wind blew upon the face of the earth, and the firstborn of the Egyptians fell dead, both man and beast. And Pharaoh's son died, and his brother's son, and the firstborn of every courtier, and every noble's firstborn, and all other people, their firstborn, so that in every family there lay one dead. Moses, I'm sorry, Pharaoh was now stricken, but not unto repentance, for evil was in his heart, and he cursed Moses and the Israelites, and swore an oath to destroy Israel, man, woman, and child, so that never more there should be one on the earth. And such a commandment he sent to his officers to fall to, and began the slaughter. As for the faithists, not many of them had slept all night, but were providing for the journey, so that when morning came, and at the time of sunrise, they everyone started. And at the time of sunrise, they everyone started. Okay, that's what it said. From all the different regions of Egypt, they went forth toward Succoth. I'm sorry. From all the different regions of Egypt, they went forth toward Succoth, westward, and in parentheses it has eastward question mark, and it has reference number 6. And down at the bottom it literally says the same thing, westward with eastward in parentheses and square brackets around the parentheses with question mark. Okay. So they either went east or west. They're not quite sure about that. Or maybe they are, maybe the translators were not, whatever. I don't know. Well, the translator was what you call it, but the ones who did the revisions, they're not sure whether it was eastward or westward. Okay. I'll read the whole verse again. 18. As for the faithists, not many of them had slept all night, but were providing for the journey, so that when the morning came, and at the time of sunrise, they everyone started. From all the different regions of Egypt, they went forth toward Succoth, westward, eastward. The heads led the way, and every commune. Yeah. The heads led the way, and every commune was led by a rabbah, and every man's family by the father of the family or by the eldest son. At the start, they spake through their leaders, saying, in thy name, O Jehovah, we depart out of the land of our birth, where we were born, and our sons and daughters were born, to return not forever. Neither shall Egypt prosper more till thou hast subdued neither shall Egypt prosper more till thou hast subdued the whole earth unto thee. But all things had changed wonderfully as to the Egyptians. For when they beheld the Israelites were indeed going and knew the miracles that had taken place, they relented and bought them gifts of gold and silver, and also asses and camels for the Hebrew women and children to ride upon, and gave them food to eat. But in the Ezra Bible, right, the one that Constantine and them put together, the Egyptian side of the story was that Israel went and ransacked everything from Egypt. No, my G. Israel was given gifts by Egypt. That's what this just said. Francis, y'all so fit. All praises to the Creator, Most High. Hold on. All praises to the Most High. Okay, sometimes I be getting the acronyms wrong. Okay. Listen, I'm gonna read this again. Verse 19. But all things, before I go any further, after all, it's reference number 7. It says, but all things. It says the same thing, but all is in square brackets. But all things had changed wonderfully as to the Egyptians. For when they beheld the Israelites were indeed going and knew the miracles that had taken place, they relented and bought them gifts of gold and silver, and also asses and camels for the Hebrew women and children to ride upon, and gave them food to eat. Do you know how, if the truth, oh my gosh, I'm just looking at this. If we had gotten a true account, even the way even the way Israel kind of looks at things a little bit, some of their thinking is just a little bit skewed, right? Because if this portion of the story was told correctly, some of their attitude would be dialed down, right? It's just, my Hebrew brethren and sister, right? Because sometimes our attitude towards those who are not Israel, right, or not Israel, is like, I'm gonna take your stuff anyway because my God, He gonna give it to us, right? But that was not even really how, and it's not really how the Creator gets down, right? It is not. So this whole attitude that we got, which is probably why we're still constantly in war with everybody, because you took our stuff, you took our identity, everything belongs to us anyway, right? We got the whole attitude, which still keeps us in a place from completely not even hearing the Creator, right? Our whole attitude as Israel is screwed up from top to bottom, left to right, in, out, right? In and out. Listen to this. But all things had changed wonderfully as to the Egyptians, for when they beheld the Israelites were indeed going and knew the miracles that had taken place, they relented and bought them gifts of gold and silver, and also asses and camels for the Hebrew women and children to ride upon, and gave them food to eat. But the Israelitish women said, Nay, and we take these things Nay, and we take these things, we will be under obligations to the Egyptians. The Israelites accepted not what they cannot pay for. Listen to this, y'all. Then the Egyptians bewailed in fear, making Israel look like they were thieves. Yo, because listen, if you go take something that's not yours, even through the Bible, with taking the lands, you take something that's not yours, you're a thief. You're a thief. Listen, the Israelites accept not what they cannot pay for. Then the Egyptians bewailed in fear, saying, that we be not accursed by the gods. Take them, we beseech you, in the name of your God also. So the faithless women accepted the presence of the asses and camels and of other things besides. And they mounted the asses and camels and rode them. They said, listen, y'all not going to be indebted to us. Take this. Matter of fact, can we come with you? No, you don't owe us nothing. We ain't going to hold it over your head. Y'all deserve this. All the stuff that we done, just take it, take it, take it, take it all. Take everything. Take everything. Take everything, right? They willingly going to give it. Look, so the faithless women accepted the presence of asses and camels and of other things besides, and they mounted the asses and camels and rode them. When Moses heard of this afterward, he rebuked Israel. Listen. He rebuked Israel, saying, because ye have accepted these things, it will be said ye borrowed them and begged them so as to despoil the Egyptians, which is where that story came from. Even if they're trying to give it to you, don't take it. Like King David said, I would not accept something I did not pay for. Look, we pay. I don't care that you want to take. You telling us to take everything, but so whatever. Even in future, we pay for this. How much is it? What? And I'm gonna leave you a nice little tip. Take it. Take the money, and we'll take it. We've rightfully purchased this. Look, this is beautiful. Verse 21, the bottom of page 439. When Moses heard of this afterward, he rebuked Israel, saying, because ye have accepted these things, it will be said ye borrowed them and begged them so as to despoil the Egyptians. When they arrived near Sukkah, Jehovah spake to Moses and Aaron, saying, stand ye here for 12 days, that ye may behold my people as they pass, and that ye in turn may be seen by them. So Moses and Aaron pitched their tents by the way on a high piece of ground and remained there 12 days. And Moses showed himself before them, speaking and encouraging. After this, the Israelites passed through Etham on the borders of the wilderness, and thence toward Migdol, near Baal Zephon, the place of the oracle of the god Baal, and they encamped before Pihahiroth, where Moses commanded them to remain some days to rest. Now, as for Pharaoh, he had not made any attack on the Israelites, for the Lord held his army in confusion. Pharaoh, finding that the Israelites were not injured, decided to take the field himself, and accordingly, having impressed all the chariots of Egypt, went ahead, leading his army in person. The Israelites were wearied and footsore, and discovering that Pharaoh was after them, many of them complained and grumbled, saying, O Moses, why broughtest thou us from home? Better was it for us to have remained in servitude to the Egyptians than to be slain. Oh, I saw your comment. Anita said, I think they were coming from different directions, so they could be coming from the east and the west. You make a great point there, because it said, hold on. From all the different regions, from all the different regions of Egypt, they went forth towards Suffolk, westward, eastward. Yeah, that is exactly it. Thank you, Anita. Listen. Verse 24. Now, as for Pharaoh, he had not made any attack on the Israelites, for the Lord held his army in confusion. Pharaoh, finding that the Israelites were not injured, decided to take the field himself, and accordingly, having impressed all the chariots of Egypt, went ahead, leading his army in person. The Israelites were wearied and footsore, and discovering that Pharaoh was after them, many of them complained and grumbled, saying, O Moses, why broughtest thou us from home? Better it was for us to have remained in servitude to the Egyptians than to be slain. Anukia, shalom, shalom, sis. Moses rebuked them, saying, profess ye to be faithless, but have not faith in Jehovah? Ooh, look, what I was just talking about my gun. Look, right down deep in my shanana. Moses rebuked them, saying, profess ye to be faithless, but ye have not faith in Jehovah? Put your trust in him, for he will deliver you safely as he hath promised. Jehovah spake to Moses, saying, they shall behold the salvation of my hand, for the Egyptians who pursued them this day shall pursue them not again forever. For when thou fetchest them to the sea, thou shalt lift up thy rod, and I will divide the sea, and my people shall walk across on the land of the bottom of the sea, and Pharaoh's army shall pursue, but be swallowed up in the waters. And so it came to pass. Jehovah brought a strong wind and divided the waters of the sea and swept them back. And the Israelites went over on land, but Pharaoh's army, who were in pursuit, were caught in the flood of the tide and were drowned. Thus delivered Jehovah the Israelites out of Egypt, and Israel believed in him and in Moses his servant. Now from the place Succoth unto the other side of the sea, a pillar of cloud preceded the Israelites by day, and a pillar of fire stood over them by night. And the people looked thereon and saw, everyone, the cloud and the light. And the name of the place they reached when they crossed over was Shakel Marath, and they encamped there many days. From the time Moses began to put on foot the migration of Israel until he reached Shakel Marath was 4 years, 207 days. And the number of Israelites that thus went forth out of Egypt was 3,750,000 men, women, and children. And the number of other people who accompanied them was 400,000. And because they were of the uncircumcised tribes of ancients, the Hebrews nicknamed them Levites, imperfect flesh. Holy crap. What? Let me go back up here to what Yazofit said. They skewed the entire narrative. Hold on. Let me read that again. Make sure I understand what I just read. Hold up. So Levi was his daddy's name, right? Levi. Yeah, Levi. I forgot what his mama name was. No. Yokebed. Levi Yokebed. Let me go back. Hold on. Hold up. Yokebed. Okay. Okay, where's his daddy? Was it Lewis? Hold on. Some days the child, father, birth of Moses. Okay. Hold on. Levi. Levi, not being eligible to a faithless wife, was inspired by the Lewis to take Enihi Matisa to wife. Matisa bore Kohath took a wife, Mara, devout worshiper. Mira bore him a son, Amram, right? Amram, who took to wife. Amram was his dad's name. Okay. Amram, Yochebed. To Kohath, she bore him a son who was Moses. Okay, let me read this again. Verse 30, page 440. From the time Moses began to put on foot the migration of Israel until he reached Shekel Marath was 400 was 4 From the time Moses began to put on foot the migration of Israel until he reached Shechem-Marath was 4 years, 207 days. And the number of Israelites that thus went forth out of Egypt was 3,750,000 men, women, and children. And the number of other people who accompanied them was 400,000. And because they were of the uncircumcised tribes of ancients, the Hebrews nicknamed them Levites, i.e., imperfect flesh. And Moses commanded the Levites to camp aside and not to mix with the Israelites, and they obeyed him in all things, maintaining that they were the true descendants of Abraham. And Moses made a song unto Jehovah, and Miriam his sister sang it and played on the timbrel, and the women of Israel danced before Jehovah. This then is the song of Moses. Okay, hold on. Still, I got to come back to the Levites. Hold on. Levitical priesthood. Miss Amazing Wonders Grand Rising. Okay. This then is the Song of Moses. Chapter, what's XIX? 10, 1, 19. Okay. Chapter 19. Eloah, Almighty, thou, my God, who hast delivered my people, I will sing unto thee a song, and the children of Israel unto thee, O Eloah. Thou art a great strength and salvation unto thee, Eloah. Will I build my habitation, thou, my father's God, O Eloah. Thou art my warrior, Eloah is thy name forever. Thou hast encompassed Pharaoh and his host. They are swallowed up in the sea, his chosen captains and his warriors in the sea. The depths covered them up. They sank to the bottom as a stone, O Eloah. Almighty Eloah, glorious in thy power and thy right hand that passed over innocent blood. Thou, my God, Eloah, wise in majesty, in thy right hand that dasheth in pieces thy enemy. Excellency, O thou Eloah, in graciousness that came upon them that rose up in thy way. Thou sentest thy breath upon them. As stubble, they were cut down by thy righteous sword. By the breath of thy nostrils, thou heapest up the waters of the sea, and the flood stood upright by thy voice to entrap them in the heart of the sea. Thine enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake them. The spoil shall be mine. I will draw the sword, my hand shall destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind. The sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, Eloah, amongst the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praise and wonders, O Eloah? Thou stretchest forth out thy right hand, and they went down into the earth. Merciful, almighty Eloah, my God, and God of my fathers, who has led forth Israel and delivered her into the land of her fathers, O Eloah, who has guided them to a holy habitation and peaceful one. All people shall hear and be afraid. Sober thought shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestina, Palestine. And the nobles of Edom shall be amazed. The warrior of Moab, trembling, shall take hold on them, and the wild men of Canaan shall melt away. Thou, O Eloah, shall strike them with fear in the magnitude of the strength of thine arm. Hold on. Thou, O Eloah, shalt strike them with fear. In the magnitude of the strength of thine arm will they be amazed and helpless as stone. For this land is thy purchase, O Eloah. In the Passover of the blood of the Lamb, purchase thou it, and Israel shall pass over it in fear. And thou shalt bring them to the mountain and thou shalt bring them to the mountain of their inheritance, to thy place, our God, Eloah, to dwell in thy sanctuary, which thou hast established for thy reign forever and ever. Chapter 20. Moses called together the heads and the robbers privately and spake before them, saying, What have I taken upon me, O Jehovah? Behold, thy sons and daughters have followed me out of Egypt. How shall I bind them unto thee, and not unto me, O my Father in heaven? Jehovah said unto me, Moses, Moses, what can I say unto thee? Say thou unto, I'm sorry, what I say unto thee, say thou unto the rabbis and unto the heads, saying unto them, not Moses, nor the heads, nor the rabbis brought ye out of Egypt. Ye were brought out by the Creator Jehovah, who is God of all, captain of all, head of all, Rabbah of all. For herein have I drawn the line betwixt my people and my enemies, the idolaters of men. Because of signs and miracles, the idolaters make a man god of their magician and worship him. But who is like unto thee, Moses, my son, in miracles? Who can match thee in the magnitude of thy proceeding? Who led forth my millions and delivered them out of a great power without loss of a man, woman, or child? But I declare unto thee, thou shalt do a greater miracle than any of these, for thou shalt preserve thyself from becoming an idol before men. That's good. Let me highlight this myself. But I declare unto thee, thou shalt do a greater miracle than any of these, for thou shalt preserve thyself from becoming an idol before men. Thou shalt proclaim me unto thy people in all things, teaching them that thou art but a man, and thy heads and thy rabbis shall likewise teach them after the same manner. For I will put away all idolatry from the face of the earth. Neither will I have kings nor queens. I am sufficient unto all men. As Abraham apportioned my people into families with rabbis and with chief rabbis, so shalt thou reestablish them. And my commandments, which I gave unto Abraham, will I give unto thee. And my crescent will I reestablish with my rabbis. And my crescent shall be the fullness of my law unto the rabbis and the chief rabbis. Moses said, I cried unto Jehovah, saying, how shall it be with the square and at high noon? And the angel of Jehovah, speaking in the Father's name, said, to the northeast, God, to the southwest, Lord, to the northwest, Baal, and to the southeast, Ashtaroth. For Osiris is dead already. So after Ashtaroth, it has reference letter I. On page 459, reference letter I says, see plate 87, Imethakava, and the chapter Imethakava, Book of Safa, 1882 edition. Okay, so let's see what plate 87. Let's go to the table of contents. Wait, first. Nope. Table of contents. Find page plate 87 is on. List of plates. 87. Imethakava, page 555. Here. 555. Plate 87, Imethakava. I'm going to show y'all the plate, then I'll read what's under it. On page 555. Right there, that black square with the white symbol in the middle. Okay. That's for Facebook, YouTube. And I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it in the community section on Facebook so you can like look at it and see what's in there. Okay. Under it, it says, as the student will perceive, the tablet contains 3 degrees. The headings only could be given in the plates, being too complicated for hieroglyphic characters in such small space. For the outer rim, begin at the bottom and read alternately either side till arriving at the top, where will be found the symbol of Corpor and the great serpent, solar phalanx, and Wark. The small stars in the inner circle represent the positions of mortals within the chambers during the ceremonies. The 3 degrees are called first, Mit Git Owl, which is dawn. Second, High Dang, which is high noon. And we actually read towards the beginning of reading this, we read the High Dang chapter. The second, High Dang, which is high noon. And third, Mahak, golden chamber, which are given in darkness. In English, they are called dawn, noon, and evening. They were about the time of Zarathustra, and in parentheses, another name for Zarathustra is Zoroaster. right? So y'all may be more familiar with that before you heard the name Zarathustra. They were about the time of Zarathustra, Zoroaster, or say 8,000 or 9,000 years BK. I don't even know what BK stands for, but if y'all know, put it in the chat. That is Jeremiah's. Tabitha, shalom, shalom. Okay, so let's go back. Page 442, and I'll read verse 10 again. Moses said, I cried unto Jehovah, saying, how shall it be with the square and at high noon? And the angel of Jehovah, speaking in the Father's name, said, to the northeast, God, to the southwest, Lord, to the northwest, Baal, to the southeast, Ashtaroth, for Osiris is dead already. To this end, then, prepare ye a place this night that the Great Spirit may bless us. The rabbis and the heads said, it is well. And when it was night, Moses and the rabbis and the heads went away aside, placing sentinels that they might be alone. And when they were thus prepared, the light of Jehovah came upon Moses, and the books of the ancients were opened before him. And he administered Imethakava upon them. By the voice of Jehovah, he reestablished it with all the rites and ceremonies as they are to this day. And after that, the heads were no longer called heads, but chief rabbis, for Moses anointed them. By command of Jehovah, he anointed them. And not in many days, Moses wrote the Levitican laws, for the inner temple of Jehovah was in spoken words only, but the outer temple was written. Hold on. Yeah, I like this. Verse 13, bottom of page 442. And in not many days, Moses wrote the Levitican laws, for the inner temple of Jehovah was in spoken words only, but the outer temple was written. Wherefore it was said, the Hebrews have two laws, one which no man else knoweth, and one for them who are not eligible unto faith, being such as were called the Leviticans. Oh my God. Hold on. Something is trying to formulate in my thinking. Well, everything is just like, hold on, wait. And not in many days, Moses wrote the Levitican laws, for the inner temple of Jehovah was in spoken words only, but the outer temple was written. Wherefore it was said, the Hebrews have two laws, one which no man else knoweth, and one for them who are not eligible unto faith, being such as were called Leviticans, but not Leviticans in fact, but hangers on, who had followed the Israelites out of Egypt, and who for the most part had no God, little judgment, and no learning. Oh my gosh. We, not me no more, but I'm just saying we as a whole, because we is one people as one, right? We have been fighting over laws, Levitical laws, which were not even created for us. Israel. Yo, these were for the hangers on who had no faith. Absolutely. It says, listen, I'm going to read this again. Hold on. This just shook me down to the deepest parts of my shana. Now, hold up. Listen. Hold up. So, let me read it again. Let me read it again first before I say this. Listen. Verse 13. And in not many days, Moses wrote the Levitican laws, for the inner temple of Jehovah was in spoken words only, but the outer temple was written. Wherefore it was said, the Hebrews have two laws, one which no man else knoweth, and one for them who are not eligible unto faith, being such as were called Leviticans, but not Leviticans in fact, but hangers on, who had followed the Israelites out of Egypt, and who for the most part had no God, little judgment, and no learning. So all our information we get, we should definitely be getting direct from our Creator. Download it right into our spirit, like which some of us we already kind of we on that track. We have that happen to us, right? Where everybody else is fighting over laws that don't even pertain to us. Don't even pertain to us. But of all that Moses did and taught, and how he labored with his own hands, many books might be written, and it is doubtful if the world ever produced so good and great a man. At that time, Moses reached Shechem-Marath. He was 44 years old by the Hebrew son, but by Egypt, he was 88 years old. Of Pharaoh and his hosts, who were not destroyed in the sea, be it said, they returned home to their places. And not long after that, Pharaoh banished God, Osiris, from the earth, declaring himself the savior of the world and the vicegerent of the Holy Ghost. You just lost all your marbles. You banished God and became God yourself. First of all, you ain't died in the flesh, like literally, you didn't die yet. So how could you? Right? And then after you die, you don't die and boom, you God. You still got you got to go to college, like all this stuff. Hold on, let me read this again. Of Pharaoh and his hosts, who were not destroyed in the sea, be it said, they returned home to their places. Not long after that, Pharaoh banished God, Osiris, from the earth, declaring himself the savior of the world and vicegerent of the Holy Ghost. The scribes and recorders assembled in Keona and appointed Phaiah, an Egyptian, to write the departure of the Israelites out of Egypt. And Phaiah wrote the account and called it the Exodus of the Hebrews, and it was recorded in the king's house of records, and copies of it sent to the large cities, and there recorded also. For such was the law of Egypt. Phaiah's record was afterward accepted by Ezra, and is that which is known to this day as the first book of Exodus. The book of Genesis, as it stood in the Egyptian records, was written by Alkabath and Duram and Hazed, and was the substance from which Ezra copied it through his scribes, even as it is to this day. The inspiration of Genesis was from the god Osiris, the false, and his emissaries, chief of whom were Yotaba and Egypt, who were angel servants to Osiris. And we remember that? We actually went through that story when they said, okay, so this is how it's gonna go, right? So we're gonna say Eve she's gonna be the downfall of the man and the whole human race as a whole. We're just gonna blame it all on her, but we behind the scenes, and we're gonna pass this story along. They actually gave us the details of when they was going through how they were going to create the beginning account, which Israel fights to the bloody death for to keep. Get rid of it. I already got people banishing me from places. I don't care. We're going to speak the truth. Create a gang. Listen, the book of Genesis, as it stood in the Egyptian records, was written by Alkabath and Duram and Hazed, and was the substance from which Ezra copied it through his scribes, even to this day. The inspiration of Genesis was from the god Osiris, the false, and his emissaries, chief of whom were Yotoba and Egypt, who were angel servants to Osiris. And so far as the records now stand, the spirit of both books was the Egyptian version of the whole subject. So what Israel fighting to hold on to was a whole Egyptian account with lies, touching genealogies in which men seem to have lived to so great an age. This then is the explanation thereof. And we almost done. I think this is literally, yeah, right here. Through who we at? 1923 is the last verse. of this chapter, and it's the end of the account of Moses. Touching genealogies. Hold on, Pooh. I'm almost done. Give me a couple more minutes.
Mom, I can end it.
Yes, you can end it. Put some Carmex on your lips, girl.
Okay.
In here. No, you can't. She already asked. Move.
Bella, what do you always at the end everything?
Touching genealogies in which men seem to have lived to so great an age, this then is the explanation thereof. Thothma had said to his recorders, in searching for truth of legends, give ye the latitude thereof. For one legend will say, such a man lived 700 years ago. Another legend will say he lived 1,050 years ago. The latitude between them is, therefore, 350 years, which shall be the time of that man's life. And in this way, latitude became confounded with fact and with no intent to deceive. And behold, it came to pass that the records were worthless, and to make matters worse, the records were so voluminous, being more than 6,000 books, that the scribes of Ezra could make neither head nor tail of them. Nevertheless, they were all written, in the first place, not by the Israelites, but by their enemies, wherein the testimony of the miracles is none the weaker. Thus ended the history of Moses' deliverance of the Fathists out of Egypt. And the Fathists in Egypt were known as Israelites, right? Hear ye now of Chine of the land of Japheth. But we're going to pause right here. So I'm going to reread this last verse 23 tomorrow, and we're going to start reading about Chine, who is another Moses type figure for another group of people who was in another part of the world. All right, staff and shalom. All right, beautiful people. Father, we thank you for revealing the truth and the history of Israel. All right, beautiful people. Let me see. Miss any questions? Here's something that I'm still, hold on. I read it. I didn't make a comment about it because I got to go back and make sure I'm processing it the right way. The whole lamb that they were required to slaughter in Egypt. That part, I'm like, oh, see, they didn't kill something. And it seemed like Jehovah. Hold on, let me make sure I read it right. Let me make sure. Covenant. Look, I flip right to it. Look, hold on, let me use a different highlight. I'm gonna have to write something. I'm trying to figure this out just to make sure I understand why they did this. Hold on. If anybody know y'all to figured it out, because it's our first time reading through. Maybe I'm not connecting the dots. Let me just read it. If anybody know, because to me, it seems I'm gonna say I'm lacking information here. I'm missing something. Okay, so if you go back to page 431 at the bottom, verse 13, it says, when the time of slaughter is at hand, the family shall stand around, and the lamb, hold on, that's not the beginning of it. He said, hold on, the lamb. Let me go back up. Okay, hour of sunset. Verse 12. And Moses appointed the month Abib and the 10th day thereof, when all the people should start. And moreover, he said unto the heads, ye shall see to it that the night before they start, even at the hour of sunset and the moment thereof, every family shall offer a lamb in sacrifice. Every man, woman, and every child that can speak shall covenant unto Jehovah in the blood of the lamb. When the time of the slaughter is at hand, the family shall stand around, and the lamb shall be in the midst, bound head and foot. And when the knife is raised for the blow, no one shall speak, for that which is to be shall be the covenant of blood of the lamb against Egypt. And when the throat is cut across and the blood flowing, they shall say, in Egypt the lamb of Jehovah is dead. His God shall go hence with Israel, but Egypt shall be accursed from this night. Accept this, my covenant with thee, O Jehovah, for innocent blood hath been shed as a testimony before thee, that with tomorrow's rising sun I rise to lie not down again in Egypt forever. Okay, so first of all, I made a correction. I'm glad I reread that. Jehovah did not tell them to slice that lamb's throat. That was their covenant that they were making. Moses chose to, okay, because at first I'm like, okay. Okay, so I can get that. They, because we always want to do something. But he said, let me read it one more time. And Moses appointed the month of Abib and the 10th day thereof, and when all the people should start. And moreover, he said unto the heads, ye shall see to it that the night before they start, even at the hour of sunset and the moment thereof, every family shall offer a lamb in sacrifice. Every man and every woman and every child that can speak shall covenant unto Jehovah in the blood of the Lamb. When the time of the slaughter is at hand, the family shall stand around, and the lamb shall be in the midst and bound head and foot. Hey, babe. Okay. All right. Love it. And the lamb shall be in the midst, bound head and foot. And when the knife is raised for the blow, no one shall speak, for that which is to be shall be the covenant of the blood of the lamb against Egypt. And when the throat is cut across and the blood flowing, they shall all say, in Egypt the lamb of Jehovah is dead. His God shall go hence with Israel, but Egypt shall be accursed from this night. Except this, my covenant with thee, O Jehovah, Eoah. For innocent blood hath been shed as a testimony before thee, that with tomorrow's rising sun I rise to lie not down again in Egypt forever. Okay, I just answered my own question, because at first I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I get it now. It wasn't Jehovah that told them to do that. They wanted to do something to show that innocent blood has been spilled in Egypt with the bondage and everything. Okay, I get it. But if anybody got any input on that, please do share. Covenant with their God, not the creator. Okay, let me go back up a little bit. Set apart said I didn't understand that either. Audrey said, I literally asked about that when you read it, but I said maybe it was for the good. Y'all so fit. Slaps head. He said, covenant with their God, not the creator. Let's go back and read it again. Hold on. Yeah, because I'm like, all right, hold on. Hold on. Let's read it again. Covenant with their God, not the creator. Listen, I'm about to ask the Selah Shalom in the building. We might need his help. Somebody, when he go live today, if I don't make it there, because sometimes I be working and I don't get it right away, the notification, somebody bring up this question. Listen, that's why Moses had to come back and deliver Pharaoh for putting a curse on him, because nobody could deliver him but Moses. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure this is processing in my head. Okay, shall covenant. I'm gonna read it one more time. No, I'm gonna read what you said. Okay, so I remember when listen. Okay, and Moses appointed the month Abib and the 10th day thereof, when all the people should start. And moreover, he said unto the heads, ye shall see to it that the night before they start, even at the hour of sunset and the moment thereof, every family shall offer a lamb in sacrifice, and every man and every woman and every child that can speak shall covenant unto Jehovah in the blood of the Lamb. Hold on. Let me go back. Okay, so. Okay, that's why Moses had to come back and let me go back up. Yahsophet said, covenant with their God, not the creator. Okay, because I'm confused, because he said they making a covenant with Jehovah, although Jehovah didn't ask them to do this, right? So I'm just trying to walk through this. That's why Moses had to come back and deliver Pharaoh for putting a curse on him because nobody could deliver him but Moses. Yeah, this is a head scratcher. Sis, I reread that also. You are correct. Moses made that covenant and also accursed Egypt, and the book of Eskra helps to make it more clear. Oh, thank you. Chapter 16. Hold on. Okay, let me find out what Eskra at because we ain't got to it yet. Hold on. Yeah, because this I'm going to be like, all day. Hold on. Eskra. Book of Eskra, 585. Oh, my 585. 585 starts the book of Eskra. You said Alicia, Shebrew. She didn't do it on purpose. She said I deleted Shebrew's message again. I'm gonna go on Facebook. She said, Shebrew, I'm sorry. Girl, get your phone out your pocket. She at work. Okay. Book of Eskra, chapter 16. Hold on, y'all. I gotta count out the Roman numbers. Hold on. I'm a little slow with this. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16. Oh, Moses in heaven payeth the judgment of Jehovah. Okay. 16, 11, 17 through 20. Okay, hold on. Let me see. 11. Hold on. What's time we at? Hour and 30 minutes? Listen, I feel like we just need to read the whole chapter. And 17 through 20. It's 56 verses. 17 through 20. This is what we're going to do. Listen, if y'all got to go to work, go ahead and get out of here. I'm my own boss, so I can kind of adjust my time. But I don't want y'all getting in trouble. So we're about to read this whole chapter. It's going to take us probably about 10 minutes, all right? Okay, listen, we're going to read the whole chapter. It's a pretty long chapter. It's 57 verses, but we got to go to the end of this because this slaughtering of the lamb it's not sitting right with me because I'm lacking information. All right, so we're going to read it. So let me put my marker here on page 431. Okay, yes, baby. And we're on page 593.
Mom,
Yes, baby.
you will be done.
Yeah, give me a few minutes. Go sit in my room for a few minutes.
Mom,
Okay, well then chill out, sis. Hold on. Okay. Moses in heaven payeth the judgment of Jehovah. That's a subtitle under chapter 16. Hamonastas, one of the chief marshals of God, and for the heavenly city of paradise, came before the throne, duly saluting and saying, O God, son of Jehovah, I would speak before thee. God said, Speak thou, my son. Hamonastas said, There standeth without the city of paradise, beyond the pillars of fire, and in company with thy high raised captains, one Nugon, delivered out of the hells of Hassa over Egypt. Okay, so that was the Pharaoh, right? So we didn't miss something, but we just gonna read this. So clearly, he died and he went to Hada and he was delivered, right? His time of deliverance. Okay. Hamonastas said, Here standeth without. Stop, girl, quit pinching my arm fat. Stop it. Hamonastas said, There standeth without the city of paradise, beyond the pillars of fire, and in company with thy high raised captains, one Nugon, delivered from one of the hells of Hassa over Egypt, and he crieth out continually, O God, son of Jehovah, deliver me, deliver thou me, O Moses, Moses, Moses. He is distracted, continually using the same words over and over without ceasing. Now behold, the nurses and physicians have tried all remedies they can invent, but failed utterly to break the spell upon him. For 70 days they have labored, and as a last resort, they have brought him hither that they might learn from thee. God said, Nugon, is this not one of the pharaohs who took up arms against the faithists of Egypt? Return thou, Hamonastas, to the keepers of this man, and cause him to be blindfolded, that he may endure the light of the throne, after which thou and his keepers shall bring him before me. Hamonastas saluted and departed, and after a certain time returned with the keepers and with Nugan, who was crying out unceasingly, even as had been said. And now, when he was quiet before the throne of God, God said to him, and this is true God, God said to him, Behold me, I am God, son of Jehovah. What wouldest thou? But the man heard not what God said, but kept crying out as before. Whereupon God said unto the keepers, Remove ye the blinds a little, that the light may come upon him. And they removed the blinds a little, but lo and behold, the light made him more distracted than before. And when God saw his deplorable suffering, he inquired of his keepers how long the man had been in hell. And they said, 70 and 6 years, and in a knot 3 years. Okay, Bella, turn it down a little bit, please. God said, I know that this is Pharaoh who persecuted the Jews. Take him again without the walls, and there retain him. I will send one of my swift messengers to Leka in Ethera, who knoweth the abiding place of Moses. Perhaps Moses put a curse on him. Oh, okay. I'm glad I asked this question, because this would have been racking my brain all day. And because this is my first time going through here, I'm not able to put that together yet. So thank you. I'm going to keep reading. Listen. I'm going to read 11 again. God said, I know that this is Pharaoh who persecuted the Jews. Take him again without the walls, and there retain him. I will send one of my swift messengers to Leka in Ethera, who knoweth the abiding place of Moses. Perhaps Moses put a curse upon him. If so, only Moses can deliver him. We're going to pause right here. Let me flip back real quick. He said something else. Not this part. I think he told him don't come before his face no more. Hold on. He said something. Have courage to face me, these things. Okay. So back in chapter 17 on page 435, verse 18. Pharaoh said, Were these things to be, God had come to more noble quarters. Thou art beside thyself, and I banish thee, nor will I again look upon thy face. And here where it's at, verse 19. Moses said, Whether in this world or the next, thou shalt yet call unto me to deliver thee from torments. Nevertheless, I do thy bidding, neither will I come to thee again, nor shalt thou look upon my face for a long season. And with that, Moses and Aaron saluted the king and departed. Oh, this is so good. Okay, let's go back to page 594. Read verse 11 again. When I first read about Pharaoh, I laughed so hard at him. Verse 11. God said, I know that this is Pharaoh who persecuted the Jews. Take him again without the walls, and there retain him. I will send one of my swift messengers to Leka in Ethera, who knoweth the abiding place of Moses. Perhaps Moses put a curse upon him. If so, only Moses can deliver him, which still kind of like baffles me. Nicolette, shalom. Because he Israel, he was allowed. Clearly, I know you can do it, right? Clearly, it must have been within the bounds of the laws and stuff that Moses understood to just put a curse on Pharaoh, just go about his business and still be off up in Etherian atmosphere somewhere, living his best life, growing. I just see I'm lacking. I'm the one lacking information. Listen. Perhaps Moses put a curse on him. If so, only Moses can deliver him. And the keepers took the spirit, Nugon or Pharaoh, without the city as commanded by God. And God sent to Heroponitis, sister of Raban, a swift messenger in an arrow ship of fire to the Etherian worlds, to Gusa Wanicha, to Lika's sojourning place at that time, commanding her to lay the matter before the Nirvanian chief, Lika. Hereupon the report continueth in the words of Heraponitus, that is, and it's reference number 15. So 15 here says, that is, these are her words to wit, in not many days' time I came before. So let's go back up. Verse 13, page 594. Hereupon the report continueth in the words of Hieropanitus, that is, I came before Jehovah's throne, whereon sat Lika. And it has reference number 16 after Lika, and it says at the bottom, Lika, through whose Etherian provinces the solar phalanx was now traveling, and I told. Let's go back and read it again. Verse 13. Hereupon the report continueth in the words of Hieroponitus, that is, I came before Jehovah's throne, whereon sat Lika, and I told him the story of Nugon, whereupon Lika, son of Jehovah, said, let my reporters of destinations go find Moses, and if it be that Moses put a judgment on Nugon, then must Moses return to the lower heavens and deliver him. The justice of Jehovah reacheth to all time and place. Okay, we'll keep reading. A judgment. He calls it a judgment. Hieropanitus continued, whereupon I saluted before the throne of Jehovah, and in company with the reporters of destinations, started forth again in the Etherian realms, and after passing through 7 worlds and upward of 300 Nirvanian kingdoms, we entered the plains of Sapias, where are situated the colleges and schools of embassies belonging to the Giterpsan board of Retivius. I'm sorry, I be screwing up names, y'all. Forgive me. And here we found Moses, who no sooner looked upon us, having been told that he was inquired after, than he prophesied the cause. Verse 17, page 594 of OAHSPE. Moses said, alas me, because thou hast come from me, thou hast awakened in me that which slept all these hundreds of years. Yea, it is true, I put a curse upon Pharaoh, for I said unto him, thou shalt yet call upon me to deliver thee out of torments. And I added thereto afterwards, saying, the blood of the sacrifice of the lamb. Yo, it's okay. Okay, I can calm down a little bit thinking that, okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. Listen, we would have figured it out eventually, but how long would it have been before we got to the book of Eskra? And this might have had just been, it would have been eating away at me. I'm glad I said this out loud so one of y'all can help me answer this. Look, let me read it. Verse 17. Moses said, alas me, because thou hast come from me, thou hast awakened in me that which slept all these hundreds of years. Yea, it is true, I put a curse upon Pharaoh, for I said unto him, thou shalt yet call upon me to deliver thee out of torments. And I added thereto afterwards, saying, of the blood of the sacrifice of the lamb, this shall be the testimony of innocent blood against thyself and thy people for what the Hebrews have suffered. Instead of this, I should have forgiven him. O Jehovah, I have sinned before thee. Wow. And after O Jehovah has reference number 17 at the bottom. And it says, O Jehovah, Jehovah. Listen, this makes me think. Turn it down just a little bit, please. I'm going to finish reading this, but when I read this, I thought about a certain group of our brethren who is learning about the magical nature of the world and the use of angels and being able to cast spells and stuff. And this is Israel who's doing this, right? They're learning about this and they're using it and they're getting results, not realizing what they're really doing, right? Because if they were of true heart, I mean, not saying that they're not, they think they are at this moment, which I still kind of follow them and watch them along. I'm like, Father, please wake them up. They do not know what they do, right? They are not. And sometimes when you try to say something to somebody, it's like, get out of here. We found the power, our power, and it's working. I'm just like, man, y'all gonna regret this when you get to the end of this. Like Moses just had said, I should have just forgiven him, right? Just remember, non-resistant. It is. I'm just like, oh, all this stuff that I done learned, even going through, looking out, searching the magic books, looking into Israel and the cabal, all of this stuff. I agree with Moses. I should have just forgiven him. Forgive me, O Jehovah, for I have sinned. He said, I sinned for putting this curse. Listen, let me keep reading. Verse 17, Moses said, Alas me, because thou hast come for me, thou hast awakened in me that which slept all these hundreds of years. Yea, it is true. I put a curse upon Pharaoh, for I said unto him, Thou shalt yet call upon me to deliver thee out of torments. And I added thereto afterwards, saying, Of the blood of the sacrifice of the lamb, this shall be the testimony of innocent blood against thyself and thy people for what the Hebrews have suffered. Instead of this, I should have forgiven him. O Jehovah, I have sinned before thee, and thou hast searched me out after all these years and brought the matter home to me. Ooh, ouch. Moses is off up in college in ethereal atmosphere, and this curse that he put on Pharaoh has followed him. It didn't stop him from getting to higher levels, but son, we're gonna have to deal with this sooner or later. I'm gonna bring the matter back home to you. Instead of this, I should have forgiven him. O Jehovah, I have sinned before thee, and thou hast searched me out after all these years and brought the matter home to me. Thou art just, O thou Almighty. In thy name and by thy wisdom and power will I return to the lower heavens and take in charge the man and people I adjudge. And Moses wept, and he commanded to the builders to provide him at once with a suitable boat of great fleetness. And then Moses procured 30,000 volunteers to go with him. And when all these things were in readiness, Moses took leave of his companions, and he and his host entered his fireboat, and presently, our two vessels were underway as if in a race for the red star, the earth. And after some days, we arrived in the heavens of the earth, even at the city of paradise, the abiding place of God. Such is a brief of the heavenly report of Herodotus, for on her arrival in paradise, her mission was completed for the present. When it was known in paradise that Moses was coming, great joy was manifested, for God and the Holy 11 and the Holy Council all desired to see Moses. And God commanded the full board of marshals and also the musicians to go without the capital and meet Moses and escort him before the throne. And they accomplished these things, and Moses came before the throne of God, saluting in the sign, judgment of time. And God answered him under the sign, Thy labor is our joy and glory. And God said, In Jehovah's name, O Moses, come thou and honor my throne. And Moses went up and sat on the throne on the right hand of God. And Moses said unto the holy council and to the holy 11, Your God shall be my God. In his love and dominion, I am cast by Jehovah's will to deliver those that have been suffered from me and my words. Wow, y'all. Goosebumps just flooded through me. Oh my gosh. Your God shall be my God. In his love and dominion, I am cast by Jehovah's will to deliver those that have suffered from me and my words. God said, Shall we not have a day of recreation first? Moses said, Nay, Till I have delivered Nugan, that was Pharaoh, there can be no peace. Suffer therefore thy marshals to go to the keepers of this man and bring him before this throne. And now again, after a while, Nugan was brought in, all muffled up, to keep the light from hurting him. And he was still crying out, O God, Son of Jehovah, O Moses, Moses, Moses. And when Moses beheld this, he was nigh overcome by the pitiful scene. And Moses brushed away his tears and rose up, raising his hands to Jehovah, saying, Light of thy light, O Jehovah, power of thy power, O Jehovah, deliver thou him whom I accurse. Put his grief and sorrows upon me that hath sinned against him. Here we go. Keep Niagara Falls from flowing. Oh my gosh. Listen, why y'all tell me to come to this chapter? Ooh, hold on, y'all. Listen, okay. Y'all know I'm a crybaby. Shoot. It made me think about, dropping my pens and stuff. Maybe you know how, oh my God, I got to get my whole life together.
Mom. Mom.
Yes, babe.
Don't the radio.
Hold on, I'm almost done. Oh my goodness. You know how you be talking to some people and you be trying to share with them the truth that you've learned. And it's like they still thinking you like off up in a cult or something, and they like brushing you off. And it's like, well, fine then, I'm gonna brush the dirt off my feet, and then you deal with this life the way you deal with this life. But don't say that the Great Spirit or God ain't never tried to deliver you and wake you up, right? Their whole attitude. Father, forgive me. Listen to what look. Oh my gosh, look. Okay. Verse 30, page 595. And when Moses beheld this, he was nigh overcome by the pitiful scene. And Moses brushed away his tears and rose up, raising his hands to Jehovah, saying, Light of thy light, O Jehovah, power of thy power, O Jehovah, deliver thou him whom I accurse. Put his griefs and sorrows upon me that have sinned against him. A mantle of yellow light, cloud like, descended upon Moses as he stood transfixed before Jehovah. All the place was as still as death. The blinds and muffles on Nugan fell off, and he stood silent and motionless, gazing with fixed awe upon the holy scene and upon Moses on the throne of God. The Spirit of Jehovah moved upon the holy place, and the musicians felt the power. It was the light of one who was mighty from the Ethereal worlds. Gently, then the music of 10,000 voices fell upon the holy audience, first mild as if far off, then louder and louder as if coming near, till soon the words of the anthem proclaimed Jehovah's praise. Nugan turned his eyes. Nugan turned not his eyes from the glory of Moses and the Ethereal mantle, for he knew Moses, even as if it were but yesterday they parted in Egypt on the earth. Slowly now, Moses lowered his upstretched arms, and his hands were brilliant like yellow fire. And Moses said solemnly, All praise to thee, Jehovah, Eloah. Thou art just, thou almighty creator. Nugan added, For through him is all deliverance, worlds without end. And thy praise will I sing forever, O Jehovah. Hold on, let me go back. Nugan speaking. Pharaoh is speaking. Listen. Nugan added, For through him is all deliverance, worlds without end. In thy praise will I sing forever, O Jehovah. Thou, most high God of Moses, my deliverer, make me strong, O Jehovah, that I can look upon him whom I persecuted and abused. Then Moses looked upon Pharaoh, Nugan, and said, These things had to be. Thou wert the last of the I'm sorry. Thou wert the last of the pyramidal age of man, and I, the first founder of the migration of the righteous. All things are done by Jehovah in his own way and time. As by my curse upon thee and thy people have I been bound to come back and to deliver thee and them. So by thy curse against Israel shalt thou now return down to the earth and labor to lift up Israel. For Israel hath fallen from communities and have taken to kings after the manner of the heathen and the idolater. Her people are divided and broken up. I am going to get through this. Hold on, y'all. Yes, I'm a bit of a crybaby. Okay. Trying to dry my eyes. Okay, so I can see what I'm reading. That's not working. Okay. Verse 40, page 595. For Israel hath fallen from communities and have taken to kings after the manner of the heathen and the idolater. Her people are divided and broken up, and many of them have become worshippers of the false gods, Baal and Ashtaroth. I thought I was good. Hold on. Give me a few moments. Verse 41. Yea, they are forgetful of my commandment of peace and love, and have taken to war and to earthly aggrandizement. And thou shalt take with thee 10,000 angels of exalted grades, and go down to the earth, to the habitations of the Israelites, and by inspiration thou and thy host shall select and inspire such of the Israelites as are within reach of inspiration, and thou shalt take them away from all other of their people, and from the heathen and the idolatrous tribes that are around them. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years. Girl, turn that down. Turn it down. Bella. Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna pull it together. I gotta start making sure I got tissue up here. Okay. All right. And thou, verse 42, page 595. And thou shalt take with thee 10,000 angels of exalted grades, and go down to the earth and to the habitations of the Israelites, and by inspiration thou and thy host shall select and inspire such of the Israelites as are within reach of inspiration, and thou shalt take them away from all other of their people, and from the heathen and idolatrous tribes that are around about them. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years, reestablishing them in peace and non-resistance. Me and my whole gun stories. Oh my God, I asked for this today. I really did. I asked for this, and all my questions on why I can't carry my gun around. Are you not a faithist? Where's your faith in the Father? Hold on. Listen, get thee behind me, Satan. Listen, okay. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years, reestablishing them in peace and non-resistance after the manner of the doctrines in the Essene worlds. and thou shalt call them Essenes, that they may be distinguished from all other peoples. Okay, so it's two letters here. After Essenes is H, and after other after peoples is I. So let's go and let's read them. Let's find the end of this chapter real quick. Eskra. I just said it definitely makes you reconsider your words and how you speak to people, because you never know who you have cursed unknowingly. Yo, I'm telling you, sis. Okay. Book of Eskra. Ooh. 3. Okay. Page 640. Wait. 640. H and I. H says, okay, so H, what was the word? Essenes for H. When this word is used in heaven, it is usually pronounced Essene, but when on earth, Essene. Some interpreters call these tribes Essenes or Essene Jews, right? 1882 edition. And some of our people call themselves Essenes, the Essenes Gospels, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. And let's see, I. And thou shalt call them Essenes, that they may be distinguished from all other peoples. And after peoples is I, so back to page 640. I says, this is an excellent example, as elucidated throughout OAHSPE, that no apparent evil is absolute and irreversible, and that no soul is forever lost. Here we revisit the hated Pharaoh who mercilessly pursued Moses into the Red Sea. We now learn that he is to become a loyal inspirer of the Essenes, from whom which Joshua of Nazareth was raised. Yo, listen. And so you remember how I had said that it's some things I wish I had never said about Jesus. I'm like, oops, he was like an actual real person, but the character we get is a little chopped and screwed in the New Testament. So when I saw that, yes, babe.
Yeah, a couple minutes more.
Yes, a couple more minutes. We almost done. Well, technically, a little bit more than a couple minutes, but we almost done. Listen, so when I got OAHSPE and I started, this first thing I'm looking for, is it or is it not a Jesus? Right? And I went through here and I'm like, oops. So the very next day, be like, so y'all remember I had said, right? So yeah, we're gonna get to it. Okay. Hold on. I'll read it again on page 640. This is an excellent example, as elucidated throughout OAHSPE, that no apparent evil is absolute or irreversible, and that no soul is forever lost. Here we revisit the hated Pharaoh who mercilessly pursued Moses into the Red Sea. We now learn that he is to become a loyal inspirer of the Essenes, from which Joshua of Nazareth was raised, right? And that's his name, according to OAHSPE. Yahusha, right? Okay, so let's go back to page 595 and finish this. We almost done. We at verse 43. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years, reestablishing them in peace and non-resistance, after the manner of the doctrines in the Essene worlds. And thou shalt call them Essenes, that they may be distinguished from all other peoples. Nugan said, thy decree is most just, O Moses, and I know of a truth thy words are Jehovah's. I pray thee, how long shall this labor be for me and my host? Clearly, he's still at work, my G. Moses said, some hundreds of years, until thou hast raised a light sufficient unto Jehovah, that peace and love and the doctrine of good for evil be again reestablished from the blood of the Israelites, even as by the blood of the Lamb I delivered Jehovah's people out of Egypt. Clearly, Pharaoh is still working to this day. You know what? He might have been the one that telling me, Pam, put your gun away. Pam, put your gun away. Listen, yo. Okay. Verse 46, page 595. Malachi Maccabee, salute. Listen. And when thou hast perfected the generations of the Essenes, thou shalt have sent to thee from the throne of God certain Lewis, and they will labor with thee until an Israelite is born into the mortal world capable of the Father's voice. Nugan said, hear me now in my plea, O Moses, thou son of the Most High. When I died as to the earth and entered heaven, as to these worlds, I found my kingdom as to what was before me in heaven, waiting for me. And they were miserable, being beggars and slaves and idiots because of the slavery I had put upon them in the earth life. And I could not escape them or put them aside. If I went away objectively, then subjectively I remembered them and was drawn back to them. Yea, I was like a young colt that first being haltered, pulleth away, but faileth, then pulled again and faileth, and so on until he findeth he cannot escape, then tamely submitteth. Even so was I bound to my kingdom, and obliged in the end to yield and become a slave unto them to provide for them. For I had so despoiled them of their talents, they were as helpless as infants, and many of them wicked in the extreme. Nevertheless, I accepted that which I could not escape. I toiled with them hundreds of years, restoring them as well as I could. And in time, a ray of happiness came to me in the hope that in hundreds of years to come, I should find my way out. But alas me, darkness, Aji, came upon my already dark heaven. My evil ones, such as I had slaughtered on earth, came upon me for vengeance sake. Anarchy overflooded me and my people. They became very demons of madness, and they seized me and bound me and bruised me and suffocated me with horrid smells, millions of them, and their curses pierced me like poison arrows. Long I fought them and cried out unto thee and to Jehovah, but alas, I was in hell. None could hear my prayers. For days and months and years I held out, but only to experience new and more terrible horrors. How long this woe was upon me, I know not. I only remember that my soul sickened within me, and I felt a sinking and a fainting like an endless death that could not extinguish me. To me, it seemed 10,000 ages. Suddenly, I find myself here, distracted before thee, thou holy Son of the Great Spirit. Whence came I? What hath occurred? Or is this but a spell of a delirious dream? And will I relapse again into yonder terrible nightmare of horrors? How can I go hence, that mine old kingdom come not upon me? Do they not wait hereabout somewhere to seize me again for renewed torments? O teach me, thou Moses, how can I fulfill thy righteous judgment and not be entrapped again, and perhaps forever? Moses said, I will give thee a new name, and I will clothe thee in garments. Hey, chill. Moses said, I will give thee a new name, and I will clothe thee in garments of mine own making, so they will rather flee from thee than come to thee. And Moses gathered up of the yellow cloud like mantle and made a mantle and clothed Nugan, or the Pharaoh of Egypt that kept him in bondage. And he named him Ilaels, I think. Ilaels, Illaes, Ilaels, signifying servant of light. And after that, he was provided with 10,000 co laborers, assisted by Gaphaniah, and sent back to the earth on his mission. And God appointed 100 messengers unto Pharaoh, that word might be transmitted every month to paradise. And that is the end of that. That was so good. That is so good. Tifa, hey girl, hey. Then that, listen, y'all. I'm glad for my earlier shenanigans that got me straight towards the end of this video today. This was so good. Y'all stop. Stop. Okay, y'all. So for y'all that came in late, we read the rest of the account. We read the rest of the account of the Exodus from Egypt, and there was a portion in there that where Moses slaughtered a lamb, and I wasn't quite understanding that. So when we actually ended it like about 30 minutes ago, but then I just asked the question because it was bothering me and I didn't know, because it's my first, stop. It's my first time reading through it, and I figured somebody here might know the answer to this on why they didn't slaughter the animal when it's against the Creator. Like, why did Moses do this? At first, I was like, did Jehovah tell him to do this? Why is he going against his word? But then we went back and read it. Jehovah did not tell him to do this. This was something Moses did out of his own self, right? They slaughtered the lamb, representing that this is is representing the innocent blood of Israel that had been slain while they were in Egypt. But doing that, it put a curse on Pharaoh, right? So I didn't guys, listen, I'm going to end it if y'all start all this. Move. Me not understanding that, because I hadn't got this far yet through the book of Eskra to even understand this. Thankfully, y'all helped the sister out. So that's why after we finished that, we came all the way back here to the book of Eskra, because why the lamb was slaughtered is explained back here, right? And Moses actually repented for slaughtering that lamb. He said, it would have been better if I had just forgiven Pharaoh instead of slaughtering this lamb, Father, and sinning against you. And he put, by doing that, it put a curse on Pharaoh, which ended Pharaoh up in the state where he's at. Yes, I'm about done. They ended him in a state where he was at. Okay.
Mom, you don't let it end it.
All right. You know what? I think Anukia, shalom.
You end the laptop.
Chill,
No.
y'all.
The
Moses and
children.
Akhenaten. We talked about that before, about Moses being Akhenaten. I haven't read that book, but I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check that out to see. I'm gonna look into it, right? And we're gonna line all these things up. All right, beautiful people. So I actually ended it earlier. But I didn't say the page number and stuff. So give me one quick second. Y'all stop. Just stop it. Why y'all gotta act like this?
But you end it every day. It's never fair to anyone else.
Chill.
Mom.
Yes.
Could this be fair? As it ends the phone, Bell ends the laptop.
Listen, first of all, this is my video. I can end it.
Well, didn't do that.
Get out of here, my boy.
Well, I usually say it every
Page
day.
4. Okay. The Moses account ended on 4:43. And then, what's this book? I'm going to put this in here. It's the book of Eskra. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a little post. And I'm going to put this in here, referencing this book. Book of Eskra. Who's this? Chapter 16. We read all of chapter 16 that explains this in detail. Chapter 16 explaining what happened during the Moses account with the slaughtering of the blood of the lamb. This was absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let's end it. Fine. I end it again. First of all, Father, thank you for even more clarity and teaching us why it is best to walk in non-resistance. All right, y'all, it is Monday, August the 15th, 2022, day 186 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 4-year consecutive day count, it is day 1204. And we read, stop, you better not push that. We read in the OAHSPE, Isaiah, chill. We read in OAHSPE, the book of the Ark of Bond, pages 432 through page 443. And then we skip to the back to the book of Eskra starting on page 5. Girl, you have to get off the book. Move, watch out. Starting on page 593. Yeah, chapter 16, which starts on page 593 and goes to page 596. All right, beautiful people. But that is it for today. Tomorrow probably definitely will not be this long. We'll try to stick to the hour, but we just had to see this to the end because this would have been bugging me till we got to the book of Eskra. And it may have I don't know. It could have skewed my outlook because now I'm like, Moses done slaughtered the lamb in OAHSPE. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure this out. Right. All right, y'all. So love y'all. Lindsay, y'all, shalom. Hold on.
Stop
Listen.
it.
I want you to move. I already told you no. All right, y'all.
Every day.
As soon as I end this, we're gonna have a little conversation. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I will see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. All right, y'all. Thank you. Don't do that right here. Okay. That's all right. All right, in that right there.
So you have
You're
you have
welcome.
small
Kendrick,
muscles.
blessed day.
Peace.
Oh, it's not only what we say, but also what we think about.